Part 87. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 861. Chapter 861 Marry him. Xiaoling suspected that she was hearing hallucinations. What? Marry, give, me, Lilei said word by word. Under the soft video light, his face was unusually beautiful, and his deep facial features were hand-carved by famous craftsmen. On an occasion like today, there was no flaw at all. The words slowly uttered from his thin lips made the people in front of the camera. Countless girls blushed and their hearts beat. Unconsciously, someone put his hand on his heart. Someone held their partner's hand. Some girls held their hot cheeks with their hands and replied softly, "I do." They couldn't wait to replace Xiaoling and agreed immediately. A rich, powerful, young, handsome, and considerate man like Boss Li wanted to. Where to find it? Anyone who misses it is stupid. Say I do. Xiaoling. Even Luo in the dressing room became nervous and unknowingly grabbed Bai Murong's arm. Bai Murong turned his head and glanced at his beloved girl, his eyes full of doting. On the stage, Xiaoling was still stumbling. Didn't you promise me to change the date of my marriage proposal? Why did you sneak to my house, for such an important occasion, with so many pairs of eyes looking forward to it? She didn't forget to turn the page. This old account. The audience was dumbfounded by this stubborn classmate Xiaoling. Lilei was still very gentle and smiled. How can we change the date set by my brother at will? And I also want to give you a surprise. The date of the marriage proposal was an auspicious day calculated by Xiaomoyan by setting up an altar. Only when you get tired of living will you change it casually. Ani Isama already dislikes him. Okay. He had already made up his mind and the marriage proposal would proceed as planned. As for Xiaoling, what's going on that day? It doesn't matter, the remote video is ready, just so that the world can see how much he loves this girl, and declare to the world that this girl belongs to him. Pei Ziyan, Rongping, Feng Kun, Wei Shaiyan, all get out of the way. Xiaoling is his. Boss Li smiled more gently. Xiaoling, marry me. I will cook for you every day, drive you to catch up with your announcements, play with you and Shaiwai, and tell you bedtime stories. Don't you like to wear beautiful clothes? Do you want as many sets as you want? If you like sparkling jewelry, you can choose crystal, agate and diamonds. If you like to go shopping and travel, I will accompany you. No matter where you go, I will be with you. Around. Stay with me for eternity, okay? Okay, was blurted out by Luo in the dressing room and the tens of thousands of viewers in front of the camera at this moment. Big Boss Li's love confession was so touching, they couldn't help it. Woo woo woo. Bai Murong gave Luo an angry shudder. What's good? Your man is me. Luo covered her head with tears in her eyes, but Xiaoling and the others are so romantic. Murong, when are you going to propose to me? I want to be that romantic too. Bai Murong's eyes softened, and he rubbed the painful area of the girl in his arms and said, want to get married? Okay, I will propose to you soon. Luo laughed happily. On the stage, Xiaoling was also moved by the oath. The happiness came so suddenly that she was speechless. Although she had known for a long time that she would marry him, and although she had known that one day he would propose to her, when the day actually came, she was still as at a loss as a girl in love for the first time. Such a solemn ceremony in front of people all over the world. There was mist gathering in her eyes. Wow, Xiaoling is almost moved to tears. A fan exclaimed in front of the TV, it's rare to see Xiaoling cry. She must be really happy, she looks so beautiful even when she cries. Promise him, promise him, promise him. Outside the venue, many spectators couldn't help but say. Off the stage in the live broadcast room, the audience also shouted slogans, Xiaoling, promise him. Xiaoling, promise him. Xiaoling, promise him. Soon, it became high-pitched and rhythmic. Amidst the chants, Lilei still knelt and looked up at his beloved woman. Look, so many people think it would be a good idea to marry me. What reason do you have for not agreeing?" He laughed. Revealing a shallow dimple, he tilted his head and said, "I also did an on-site vote." At this time, the host finally interjected and said very jokingly, "Yes, Miss Ling, at the request of Mr. Li Lei, our TV station launched a voting event on whether you should marry Mr. Li Lei. Survey, Option A, marry him. Option C, marry him." The audience voted very positively. On one side of the big screen, these four options were displayed. In just a few minutes, there were already tens of thousands of votes, and the number was still rising. Marry him, marry him, marry him. Every option is to marry him. Isn't this a gangster option? Xiaoling's beautiful eyes were still filled with mist, but she couldn't help but laugh, looking at her beloved man. "Can you stop being so unscrupulous?" What the people want, Li Lei didn't feel embarrassed at all. He turned to face the audience, smiled and raised his voice, "Thank you to all the audience friends who support me. Each of you at the scene will receive a gift from me. A small gift, and for the viewers who voted for me, you will also receive a small gift." Countless people cheered inside and outside the scene. "There are gifts. A gift from Big Boss. Marry him, marry him, marry him." The shouts in the audience became louder and louder. The electronic voting outside the venue suddenly soared again, and all the screens were filled with the words "marry him." Amidst the festive and lively slogans, Li Lei looked at Xiaoling lovingly and said again, "Marry me." Xiaoling finally couldn't resist the warm atmosphere and heard her own voice softly, "Okay." A simple word, but it contains the most solemn commitment. Her figure in a gauze dress stood gracefully on the stage, with fair skin and black hair, exactly the most beautiful appearance of a girl. The cheers resounded through the sky, drowning her in an instant. "It's great, it's so great." In front of the TV, a fan grabbed her boyfriend's hand and wiped away her tears. "It's not easy for my little Ling. After suffering so much, she can finally be with her beloved together." There were many fans hugging each other and sharing the joy of this moment with each other. Boss Li's proposal was a success and received blessings from all Xiaoling's fans and countless passers-by. In the video, he slowly stood up straight and said to Xiaoling gently, "Wait until I marry you." End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 862. Chapter 862 Canvassing. The figure in the video gradually faded away and fell silent. Xiaoling, whose heart was so happy that it was about to explode, walked off the stage in a daze and returned to the dressing room. Luoluo rushed up to hug her. "Xiaoling, that's great. Congratulations on finally getting married to your Boss Li lover." Her voice like a silver bell spread throughout the room. "Sister Xiaoling, there are many people sending flowers." Wei Wei smiled and pointed to the bouquets piled on the seats, including all kinds of roses, lilies, and tulips. Fans came to the door with cards and messages, writing full of blessings. Lin Yunan and others also came forward to congratulate her. Xiaoling accepted their congratulations one by one and said, "I didn't expect it, this happened so suddenly." After saying this, she smiled with her face in her hands. "On my wedding day, you all will come to have a wedding banquet." Definitely, definitely." Everyone was very amused. Xiaoling nodded with satisfaction and said, "It's getting late, I'm going to continue changing clothes and modeling. Luoluo, I'll be on stage as a cheerleader for you in a minute, and I'll definitely win the Best Golden Melody Award for you." After the proposal incident just now, it was when she was extremely popular, so it was easier to win votes. Luoluo was also very happy. "Well, Xiaoling is very happy for me. I hope Murong and I can be as happy as you and Boss. I will definitely do it." Xiaoling went into the dressing room to change clothes, and then returned to her seat surrounded by flowers to do some styling. This time, she put on her fourth haute couture dress tonight, and she was still as beautiful as ever, making many actresses envious of her who were able to borrow one or two haute couture dresses for sponsorship. Finally, it's time to canvass votes for the Best Golden Melody Award. Competing for the award this time are Lugo Lugo, Xiaoyu, and several singers from 2 or 3 other companies. Lugo Lugo's single performed well, and almost no other singers were afraid of it. Only Xiaoyu, because she had just made a comeback, her singing skills had made an astonishing improvement, and she did not hesitate to expose her crimes and surrender her identity, but she also wanted to acknowledge her ancestors. It was so tragic that it won the sympathy votes of many viewers and turned out to be a strong competitor for Lolo. Xiaoyu's song is actually very good, one audience member said. Yes, another audience member said, she created it specifically to apologize to her sister, and put so much emotion into it. Even if she did something wrong and committed a crime, she will have to pay the price soon. Prejudice should not be substituted into this song. This song may be her last chance to win an award before she pleads guilty and goes to court. Some people feel sad and can't help but want to vote for Xiaoyu. Seeing that she is about to surrender, let's leave her some good memories before she commits suicide. Luoluo still doesn't have enough appeal. Someone in the producer's lounge shook his head. If it were Miss Ling herself who competed for this award, no matter how tragic Xiaoyu is, she won't be able to sway her one bit. Feng Kun nodded while drinking tea. If we ignore the background and just talk about the song itself, the song sung by Xiaoyu is indeed much better than Luo Luo. In addition, Luo Luo's song has been popular for almost a year, and the audience is more or less a little tired of it. Xiaoyu's song was only sung for the first time today, and it was amazing, so it easily occupied the vote. Advantage. But it would be different if it were Xiaoling. Xiaoling's strength is crushing. No matter how much Xiaoyu jumps around, it will be useless. However, Luoluo doesn't have no chance at all. Another producer said, Miss Aya is her cheerleader. She has the most shining actress tonight to attract her votes. Luoluo has this little bit of strength in strength. The injury can be easily repaired. So, who will win the Best Golden Melody Award depends on the canvassing process, someone concluded. On the stage, several singers' cheerleaders appeared. Luoluo's side is Xiaoling, who caused a deafening cheer as soon as she appeared. Her popularity tonight is really too high, from the dreamy finale on the red carpet, to the breathtaking opening song, to all the proposal scene that all girls dream of. Now, they look at Xiaoling as if they were looking at the goddess among goddesses. No matter what she says or does, even if she just stands quietly, she will attract countless people. Xiaoling's eyes scan the faces of the singers at the scene. Many singers are very relaxed and even have a moving demeanor, because they have long known that they will not win the award and gave up the competition for the Best Golden Melody Award. They just want to go through the ceremony gracefully, so their mentality is very relaxed. Only Xiaoyu hopes to compete with Luo Luo. She originally debuted at about the same time as Luo Luo and Xiaoling. Now, Xiaoling is already a top diva, and Luo Luo has also won many awards one after another. Only her reputation was ruined after the lip-syncing incident, and she died out. After returning to the music scene, she made up her mind to use the good voice that Wei Lingnan had transformed for her to regain her stardom. After she gets the flower back from the Xia family and gives it to Wei Lingnan, and the poison curse is lifted, she can continue to be in the singing world. With her current talent, it is not impossible to become a queen. What? You are talking about the murder of Xiao Shaowai. Xiao Shaowai is not dead yet, she is alive and kicking, and she will surrender. Can't impose heavy punishment. Xiaoyu has planned everything out, and now stands on the stage, looking at Xiaoling with some vigilance, hoping that Xiaoling will not get too many votes for Luoluo. If she doesn't win the Best Golden Melody Award, doesn't it mean that she lost to a second-tier actress just after her comeback? That's so shameless. Unfortunately, Xiaoling's appeal far exceeded her imagination. Xiaoling raised the microphone with a smile, You all know that Lugo Lugo is my good friend. But few people know how I became friends with Lugo Lugo, right? Everyone was stunned, really. They all knew that the two of them were at the same time in the Tianyi training camp. However, with so many students at the same time, why did it happen that Lugo Lugo, who later transferred to the emperor, became good friends with Xiaoling? Xiaoling doesn't have a very warm temperament. She has been in the music industry for so many years and has made very few friends, which is really curious. The host asked on behalf of everyone, Xiaoling, how about you tell us about your acquaintance with Lugo Lugo? Xiaoling smiled lightly and told the story of how she was bullied in the training camp and got help from Lugo Lugo, and then said, at the beginning, when I was in such a difficult time, only Lugo Lugo can help me. Now I am a queen. It's time to help my friends. My fans, I hope you can support Lugo Lugo. Supporting her means supporting me. And other viewers, even if you are not my fans, I hope you can support Lugo Lugo. One vote. Her songs are just like her people, they are really clean, not so complicated and utilitarian, they are pure music sung with heart. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 863. Chapter 863 Get Your Code. Her appeal was astonishing, and Luo Luo's votes skyrocketed, surpassing Xia Yu in just an instant. Xia Yu turned pale with anger, but there was nothing she could do. Who told her not to invite a big shot of this level to take charge? Her cheerleader is just a third-rate singer who was recruited temporarily, and he plans to take advantage of her popularity to look familiar in front of the screen. She felt bitter in her heart, knowing that the situation was over. Luo Luo got his wish and won the Best Golden Melody Award. On the podium, he smiled sweetly. The remaining singers who did not win the award maintained good demeanor, smiled, clapped, and hugged her to congratulate her on winning this coveted award. When it was Xia Yu's turn, Luo Luo whispered in her ear, "Sister Xia Yu, I really appreciate you. I wish you win the award next year. I'm sorry, you probably won't be able to come next year, right?" Xia Yu didn't expect that she would be ridiculed by her, and her face almost lost its expression. Luo Luo was mocking her. After the show ends, she will go to the police station to surrender. Next year, she might already be in jail and unable to appear in the public eye. She gritted her teeth and answered softly from an angle that could not be seen by the camera, "Don't worry, you won the Best Golden Melody Award with the help of a good friend." What kind of skill is that? Luo Luo still smiled sweetly, "It's better than some people who can't even find good friends who are willing to help her." Xia Yu didn't expect that this girl, who usually looked pretty and innocent, would hit people where they hurt with every word of her sarcasm. She had suffered too many blows tonight, had paid too much to return to the family, and was reduced to dust by Xiaoling. At this moment, Luo Luo's ridicule finally broke the string of reason in her mind. She couldn't hold it back and glared at Luo Luo fiercely, full of resentment. "Quick, rewind. Cut it and play it back." In the studio, the director suddenly became excited. His sharp eyes caught Xia Yu's glare with a startled glance. The resentful look in her eyes was completely different from the impression Xia Yu usually gave people. It turned out that she was so terrifying after her failure. "Replay," the director rubbed his hands excitedly, "give me a close-up." The ratings are expected to increase again. This is not a charity show in the first place. There is no such thing as hello, me, hello, everyone. Some people are happy and some are sad. This is the consistent pursuit of the Nebula Festival. The purpose of the show is competition, the weak and the strong. Of course, the facial expressions of the loser are also very exciting scenes. Xia Yu's glare was full of jealousy and unwillingness. Compared with her usual image of a weak white lotus, it was full of drama and it was too easy to create a topic. Sure enough, as soon as the footage was replayed, the internet was already going crazy. Have you seen it? Xiaoyu is glaring at Lugo Lugo. She gave Lugo Lugo a hard look. Soon someone posted a post discussing this matter. It's so surprising, I thought she was very weak. I just sympathized with her and hoped that the police would not give her a harsh sentence. Unexpectedly, she is a vicious person at heart. Yes, yes, many people echoed, who said she was a prodigal son who won't be rewarded with gold. She doesn't dare to provoke Xiaoling anymore, so she will provoke Xiaoling's friends. Even if others don't win the prize, they still know how to bless Lugo Lugo. Only she's so mean. Do you really think our Lugo Lugo is easy to bully? She's so mean. Knowing people, knowing faces, but not knowing hearts. Xiaoyu acted very well. For a time, countless people criticized Xiaoyu verbally and writtenly. Poor Xiaoyu, the little sympathy she had gained through her ruse on stage was quickly exhausted by her. Let her go to jail. Xiaoyu, go to jail. Don't go back to the entertainment industry to cause harm to others. Xiaoyu, who returned to the backstage, quickly saw the direction of public opinion through the assistant's narration. She was filled with hatred but could do nothing about it. Where's Manager Li? She said angrily to her assistant, why hasn't he come yet? My coat is still with him. I need to change my makeup, she won't have any chance to appear next, so she wants to change early. Put on makeup and leave the TV station unprepared to avoid being criticized by more people. Tonight, what a shame. The assistant said tremblingly, Li. Agent Li called and said he had diarrhea. He had already taken a step forward. Before leaving, he gave me the car key. Sister Xiaoyu, I will go get your coat. Go quickly, Xiaoyu was angry. The little assistant went away full of thoughts. As a recent graduate, she was originally very happy to join a company as big as the Emperor and become a star assistant. However, she is very worried about her future now. What future can she have with such a master who has a criminal record and a somewhat sinister temper? It's true that she just graduated, but that doesn't mean she can't look at her. From the attitude of Chu Chen, the general manager of the brokerage center, towards Xiaoyu, it can be seen that Xiaoyu is not a key cultivation target. Seeing that the sisters who were assigned to work for other celebrities at the same time were all prospering. What should I do in the future? The assistant walked slower and slower. Suddenly, she heard someone calling her, Mai Mei. Mai Mei turned around and saw that she was the assistant of a new singer that the company was focusing on cultivating, and her good sister Aru. I saw Aru walking forward a few steps quickly and said happily, Mai Mei, what a coincidence, I'm planning to find you in the next few days. Our brother Lai is recruiting assistants here, do you want to jump here? Mai Mei's eyes lit up, Brother Lai, are you looking for an assistant? Really, Hua Lai is Emperor's new singer who has been gaining momentum recently. There are rumors in the industry that Emperor intends to cultivate him to become King Zhengqianhao's successor. He will have a bright future. There is no limit. The beautiful little sister Aru is Hua Lai's assistant. Aru was a little embarrassed, it was originally full, but I'm pregnant recently and can't follow Brother Lai around. Brother Lai is not used to using strangers, so I recommended you to him, Mai Mei, you have always been good at what you do. The most careful person among us, if you go to Brother Lai to help, he will definitely be satisfied. Mai Mei was struggling with her future when she was given such a good thing. She didn't hesitate too much and said with a smile, well, Sister Xiaoyu won't be able to stay here long anyway. If Brother Lai doesn't dislike me, I can go there at any time. Aru clapped her hands and said with a smile, that's great. It finally solves my worries. Mai Mei, Brother Lai is here tonight. You follow me to see him. If Brother Lai agrees to use you, it will be no problem. But My Mei originally wanted to say that she wanted to help Xiaoyu get her coat, but then she thought about it, Xiaoyu was not very kind to her. When encountering such a matter that concerns the future, she must give priority to the future. So he said, "It's nothing. Where is brother Lai? Let's go." The two young assistants chatted and laughed and went to find Hua Lai. Xiaoyu was left alone in front of the makeup mirror, still waiting anxiously for Mei Mei to get her coat. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weiniang. Chapter 864. Chapter 864 The Goddess Flew Away. The most important award at the Nebula Festival every year is the Best Male and Female Singer. This year, the Best Female Singer award was still awarded to Xiaoling without any suspense. Looking at her on the podium, who was as delicate as a fairy in a beaded silver dress, the host smiled and said, "It has been 4 years in a row, and it's still you, Xiaoling. This Best Female Singer award will be ours, the most unsuspicious award at the Nebula Festival. As long as you are here, other female singers will probably be in despair." Xiaoling chuckled and said very elegantly that everyone agreed. She always likes to quarrel with others, and her fighting ability is one of the best among celebrities, and she rarely shows her modest side. But, standing on the most dazzling award stage, Ning was as peaceful as a virgin, without any pride or arrogance. This is the style of a top diva, no matter how many awards she wins, it seems natural. In the face of glory, she has long been calm. The host praised her again and again, and the cameramen and reporters in the audience also took pictures of her. Although she has won the award for 4 consecutive years, she has a kind of magic about her that makes people never tire of it. Any scenes with her have high ratings. No, the internet exploded again. "Look, Xiaoling has accepted the award. What I said is indeed right, she is still the best female singer this year. Our family Xiao Aya is the best. Look at that skirt on her, it's so beautiful. Is it the 4th one tonight? It matches her temperament." Girls all love beauty, and their idols' clothes are also a topic they like to talk about. "Of course she's very beautiful," a senior fan was very proud. "Every time my Xiaoling attends an event, she buys dresses with her own money. She wears hundreds of thousands or millions of high-end dresses once. It will not be worn a second time. It is placed in a special showroom in Fengqianchang's company where people can visit it. Unlike some celebrities who have to borrow brand sponsorship to wear a high-end dress and still need it after wearing it. Give it back to others." Many people below echoed, "That's right, Xiaoling is a real rich lady." They were excited and proud of their idol. Xiaoling's every move, the clothes she wore, the accessories and cosmetics she used, and even the color and length of her hair, everything made them talk about it. Topic of tonight is destined to be a sleepless night for them. The award ceremony ended and Xiaoling returned to the backstage. In the large dressing room backstage, many artists have begun to pack their things and prepare to leave. Xiaoling also changed out of her dress and put on a dark black tube top skirt and a fringed shawl. She looked very delicate but low-key. She was in a happy mood, picked up her Chanel handbag, and said to Lin Yunan, "Let's go." Lin Yunan crossed his arms and did not move. "Even if you are dressed as black as ink, you can't expect to stand out safely from the circle of reporters. You broke so much big news tonight, how can they let you go?" Before she finished speaking, Wei Wei, who had gone to explore the way outside, had already returned, looking a little panicked. "Sister Xiaoling, we are surrounded outside. In addition to reporters, there are many fans holding support banners. Most of them are waiting." Yours. She was petrified by the scene and couldn't get out at all. One after another, several stars who left before returned. "Grandma Ling," one of them wailed, "I'm all looking for you, please leave quickly. If you don't leave, we can't leave either." The road was blocked, and they didn't dare to cross the crowd of reporters and fans. Xiaoling went to the window and took a look, and was also shocked. Didn't she just announce her marriage? Why are there so many more people? The whole street was densely packed, and the intersection a few hundred meters away was still full of people, making it impossible to walk. It's all Lilei's fault, she grinned at her teeth. Why would you propose marriage on such an occasion? Lin Yunan laughed at her. You can blame him slowly when you go back. Only helicopters can enter this battle. Xia Xiaoling's classmate really asked the TV station seriously, can a helicopter be parked on the top floor? The answer given by the TV station was very melancholy. MSIA, our rooftop is too small. The helicopter can only lower it with a rope ladder. The safety factor is not enough. We will never let you do such a dangerous thing. Just kidding, if she accidentally falls and dies, who can afford to pay for it? Xia Xiaoling's whole body was melancholy. What should we do then? Xiao Shaowai is still at home waiting for me to go back and read bedtime stories. Woo woo woo. Other stars who are trapped here are also very depressed. Goddess Xiaoling, we are all waiting for you. Only Lin Yunan smiled with a cunning look on his face, who said there's nothing we can do. Xiaoling's eyes lit up, and all the stars' eyes lit up, and they said in unison, say it quickly. Outdoors of the TV station, in the night, reporters carrying long guns and cannons surrounded the exit. Behind them were a huge group of fans, and the nearby roads were surrounded to the end. Why doesn't Miss Aya come out? A reporter said to his companions. Other celebrities are also trapped in this battle. Even if she doesn't think about herself, she should think about others. If she doesn't leave, who can make it? That's right, his companion nodded, it shouldn't last too long. There are so many people putting pressure on her. Let's wait patiently. Well, be patient and wait, the reporters encouraged each other, and the fans on the street also encouraged each other. Suddenly. Look, what is that? Someone discovered the new world. Many people raised their heads and looked up at the night sky. They saw a helicopter roaring. After circling the TV station building, it stopped near the rooftop of the building and lowered the hanging ladder. It's a helicopter. Xiaoling shouldn't be flying by helicopter, right? A fan shouted. As soon as this guess came out, everyone cried. Couldn't it be that after they waited for so long, Xiaoling didn't play with them at all and just flew away? Do you want to be so cruel? Everyone was crying and sad. Some people comforted each other, maybe it's not her, it won't be such a coincidence. Then, they saw a petite girl wearing black clothes, a hood and goggles climbing up the rope ladder onto the helicopter. Goodbye, I'm flying home. A fan opened the official Weibo and saw Xiaoling's message. No way. Oh no. Oh heaven and earth, she really flew away. For a moment, everyone squatted and beat their feet. Why on earth did they wait in the cold wind for so long? Why? The goddesses have all flown away. Flew away. Journalists and fans were all crazy and could not help but burst into tears. Forget it, let's just capture a few other celebrities, they muttered. Peripherally, some disappointed fans have dispersed. They came to see Xiaoling. Now that Xiaoling is gone, what are the other celebrities worth seeing? Might as well go home and forget it. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 865. Chapter 865 decisively traps Xia Yu. In 10 minutes, the crowd has cleared up a lot. Xiaoling was still standing by the window of the dressing room, looking out the window, and happily said to Lin Yunan, Big manager, you still have a way to deceive so many people with a helicopter. Lin Yunan smiled proudly, that's right, don't you look at me, young master, who am I? The TV station refused to let Xiaoling get on the helicopter. After all, they were on their own territory, and Xiaoling and Lin Yunan had nothing to do. Fortunately, Lin Yunan was resourceful. Xiaoling couldn't get on the plane. Didn't she still have bodyguards? She is always accompanied by bodyguards, all of whom are top-notch in skills. Climbing a helicopter rope ladder is no problem. The TV station couldn't resist them, and seeing that the bodyguard seemed to be very good at fighting, they reluctantly agreed. Immediately, the female bodyguard, who was similar in stature to Xiaoling, pretended to be her and climbed up the rope ladder. As expected, the effect was just like the real one. Not only was she not recognized, but she also successfully deceived a large crowd. Other celebrities were also very happy, saying hello to Xiaoling and walking out. Xiaoling was just about to follow when she was grabbed by Lin Yunan. Are you stupid? They can get out, do you think you can get out too? Believe it or not, as long as you step out of this door, those reporters and fans can kill you in an instant. Flooded. When other celebrities go out, they will not cause all the reporters and fans outside to be surrounded. Even if some people are excited and irrational, there will be others who will remain sober. Therefore, in terms of the total number, it is not unbearable. But it's different when Xiaoling wants to go out. Everyone will definitely go crazy. Xiaoling's classmate was about to cry. I want to go home. She pointed at her fingers melancholy and watched with envy as the other stars fought their way through their agents and assistants, started their special cars, and dispersed in all directions. Lin Yunan rolled his eyes. Go home to what? Just wait here for me. When everyone else has left and there are fewer people, you can go out again. How long will it take to wait? An hour or two, I'm optimistic. Lin Yunan looked at his watch. Xiaoling is going to cry again, for an hour or two. Then Xiao Hui won't be able to sleep until early in the morning. This child is very clinging to her, especially on an important day like today, where dad proposes to mom he won't sleep until she comes home. She looked at Lin Yunan pleadingly. Is there anything you can do to make them disperse faster? What can I do? Lin Yunan enjoyed the feeling of being begged by her, and after a while he said, how can an omnipotent agent like me not be able to do anything? He snapped his fingers. Wei Wei, you come. Wei Wei walked up to him doubtfully. Lin Yunan explained to her such and such. Wow, so shameless. Wow, so shameless. Xiaoling and Wei Wei said in unison, what a bad idea, it's a scam. Lin Yunan rolled his eyes again. Do it or not, I'm not the one who's in a hurry to go home anyway. Xiaoling became anxious when she heard this. Do it? Why not do it? Xiaoyu has cheated me so many times. What happened if I cheated her once? The interest is not even enough. Wei Wei, go quickly. Wei Wei also felt, to deal with shameless people, you must use shameless tactics. Brother Lin, this is a good idea. I'll go right away. She ran outside like a gust of wind. Outside the TV station, a reporter stood in the cold wind and checked the list one by one. Wei Shaiyan, Zheng Chenhao, Xia Linlang, Lu Tao, there are still many people who have not come out. His companion said while taking photos, it's so cold, let's wait for a few big shots, and then we'll leave after taking the photos, leaving those small fish and shrimps to others to report on. Just what I wanted, the reporter said, rubbing his hands. Suddenly, I heard a commotion in the crowd. What's wrong? The two reporters looked at each other. One of them hurriedly went to inquire about the commotion, and soon ran back crawling on the ground, pulling his companion. Let's go, let's go. Big news. What's the big news? His companion stumbled as he was dragged away. My fixed focus lens. It's worth $500,000. Don't drop it. He packed up the equipment and ran after him. If the news isn't big enough, I won't be done with you. Xiaoyu is in the Audi in front, driving to the police station to surrender. What? You really surrendered? Come on, come on. The companion didn't care about anything else and went to activate his own motorcycle. This was an attempted murder. It's the female star's fault. It's so interesting. Except for Li Lei's proposal to Xiaoling, other news tonight is not worth mentioning compared to this. Soon, more than half of the reporters and fans who had gathered in front of the TV station were gone. They used various means of transportation to follow the Audi car, preparing to go to the police station to watch the excitement. Xiaoyu in the car was impatient and asked her assistant Mai Mei, "Why are so many people following me? I've obviously changed cars. Did you do something careless and leak my whereabouts?" I didn't." Mai Mei lowered her head and defended in a low voice. Earlier, she followed her little sister to meet Huali, and they had such a good conversation that she almost lost track of time. By the time he got Xiaoyu's coat and returned to her, the ceremony was over, just in time for the peak of the crowd outside. Xiaoyu was so angry that she threw the coat at her head and face, and told her to find a new car quickly, not the one she got in, as others would recognize her. She knew in her heart that besides Xiaoling, she was the second focus tonight. There must be many reporters waiting to report on her murder of Xiao Hui and her return to the family. She could not expose her whereabouts. Mai Mei swallowed her anger and finally transferred an Audi from the company. Mai Mei couldn't help but want to cry when she thought of the dispatcher's obviously sarcastic tone when she called to request a transfer. Following Xiaoyu, it was so frustrating. The emperor was originally a place where those who were high and those who were low were bullied, not to mention that Xiaoyu was Xiaoling's younger sister back then. Back then, Xiaoling was so domineering that people hated her. Everyone dared to be angry and dare not speak out. Now that Xiaoyu has lost power, I can't wait to take revenge on her all at once. Hence, the attitude of the emperor and others toward Xiaoyu was worse than that toward others. Mai Mei, as her assistant, is the first target of ridicule. However, these days will be over soon. She felt very happy when she thought of what Hualai said today, "You are welcome to come to my side as an assistant. These difficult days would soon be over." As for Xiaoyu, Xiaoyu doesn't treat his subordinates well. On the surface, he looks charming and soft, but in fact he is very vicious. His assistants will bear the brunt of all kinds of difficulties. So, Mai Mei has no guilt about her. Still making excuses, Xiaoyu gritted her teeth. "I think you don't want this quarter's bonus. If you hadn't been careless, how would the people outside know that I was in this car?" End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weiniang. Chapter 866. Chapter 866. Xiaoyu goes to surrender. Mai Mei felt aggrieved and wanted to contradict her, but she bit her lip and held back. The entertainment industry is such a hierarchical place. There is an insurmountable gap between stars and assistants. If people are polite to you, you are lucky, but if they bully you at will, you will only consider yourself unlucky. No one cares about the mood of a little assistant. Mai Mei always works carefully. When shunting the car, she deliberately avoided an uninhabited corner to make the phone call. The cold wind blew her fingers to the point of freezing. There's no way anyone could have discovered it. She wanted to ask Xiaoyu if Xiaoyu was being followed when she walked out of the dressing room. But she didn't dare to ask. If she did, it would only lead to revenge. But her guess was right, Xiaoyu herself was being targeted. Wai Wei bribed the building's cleaner and pretended to sweep the floor in the corridor. In fact, she paid close attention to Xiaoyu's every move. Wai Wei knew exactly when she left the dressing room and when she got into which car. As long as the news spreads, countless media and fans will naturally follow them. A female star surrenders herself, it's a rare sight in a century. How can you not join in the fun? At this time, Mai Mei in the car also received a call. It was from a reporter, asking if Xiaoyu was really going to surrender. Mai Mei glanced at Xiaoyu next to her in embarrassment, said she had no comment, and hung up the phone. Xiaoyu also heard it, with a cold look on her face. This car was driven in the direction of her home. Why did she surrender? Even if she wanted to surrender, she wouldn't do it in such a high-profile manner. At least I need to change my clothes and get a less eye-catching car to avoid the crowd of reporters. These people want to see her lively? No way. Drive faster, she told the driver quietly. Miss Xiaoyu, the speed is already the fastest, the driver replied lukewarmly. This road has a speed limit of 80 and is congested. How can a car run on it? Anyway, it was she, Xiaoyu, who wanted to get rid of someone, and it was not him who wanted to get rid of someone. She drove slowly, and there was no need to have points deducted from her driver's license for reasons such as speeding. Xiaoyu was very unhappy. Wangda, I remember when you drove for my sister, you drove so fast. Why do you have so many excuses when you get to my place? Don't watch others order food. Oh, Miss Xiaoyu, how dare I? The driver was not afraid at all and sneered, why did the boss assign me to drive for Miss Xiaoling? Just because I drive steadily and don't speed. But who knows, Xiaoling, the lady grabbed my steering wheel and broke the rules so many times that I couldn't stop her. Then my boss demoted me to the logistics department and drove for all the artists in the company. Isn't that unfair? When this matter was mentioned, the driver became very angry, and even looked down upon Xiaoling's sister. How about you come and steal my steering wheel? Kick me out of the car, and I won't stop you until the speed reaches 180. Xiaoyu breathed in her heart and was so angry that she couldn't speak. At the beginning, Xiaoling acted recklessly and dared to do anything. However, she was also very skilled at being able to grab the steering wheel of a moving car. Her driving skills were among the best in the supercar club. But what about Xiaoyu? Because my health has never been good, and I enjoy the high-class feeling of having a driver drive, I have never driven a car a few times in my life, and I would never dare to grab the steering wheel and speed on a busy street. She sat in the carriage bitterly and remained silent. Looking out of the car window, I saw several motorcycles chasing each other closely. There were people on the back seats of the motorcycles taking pictures through their windows. Although nothing could be taken out of the glass with a protective film, it was still very uncomfortable. Mai Mei's cell phone rang one after another. Reporters all called to ask about Xiaoyu's surrender. Mai Mei was very embarrassed and couldn't help but ask Xiaoyu, Sister Xiaoyu, otherwise, I will tell them that you plan to go home directly, so that they will not be haunted like this. Xiaoyu glanced at her warningly, don't make your own decisions. She originally planned to go home directly, but now she was a little undecided. I turned on my phone to browse the news and entered the keyword Xiaoyu. All that came out were reporters tracking her in real time. A reporter reported, Xiaoyu's Audi drove onto Chinnan Avenue. I wonder which police station to go to. The Audi turned a corner. Hey, this is the direction of her residence, exactly opposite to the local police station. Is Xiaoyu really going to surrender? Xiaoyu is not planning to go home and sleep directly, is she? Doubts are getting louder. The reporters were very unhappy. If she really went home to sleep, why did they spend so much effort tracking her down to this point? On the internet, many people who were waiting in front of their computers to wait for reporters to send back real-time reports were also unhappy. They stayed up so late not to watch Xiaoyu ride home. Xiaoyu, go and surrender. Xiaoyu, stop pretending, surrender yourself immediately. Xiaoyu, have you agreed to surrender? You won't regret it, right? There are many people who called the police station and told the police that Xiaoyu will not surrender, so you should go and arrest her. If you are caught, you must be sentenced severely, and the maximum number of years will be the maximum. Xiaoyu was frightened when she saw the news. This incident became too big and public resentment boiled over. She began to worry that if she didn't go to the police station to surrender immediately, Would the police knock on her door tonight and arrest her directly? Not giving her a chance to surrender at all. This is related to sentencing. She was filled with resentment and cursed the people who forced her to surrender. He closed his eyes deeply, and when he opened them again, he said, "Turn around and go to the police station." Go to the police station, the driver was stunned. Miss Xiaoyu, do you really want to surrender? Drive your car. Xiaoyu was in a bad mood and didn't want to say more. She closed her eyes again and pretended not to see the weird expressions of the driver and Maimei. Even if she surrendered in the spotlight of so many people, she couldn't care less. It was better than delaying for a long time without even having a chance to surrender. Face is not as important as dignity. Her top priority is to pray for a light sentence. Only then can she have a chance to make a comeback. The Audi car finally drove into the police station. At the same time, TV stations. After Xiaoyu took away a large group of reporters and people, the crowd outside the building that was originally blocked had dispersed, leaving only a few or twos of people waiting to try their luck. The number was simply out of proportion. Lin Yunan was very proud and said to Xiaoling, "Okay, we can go out." Surrounded by him, Wei, and several bodyguards, Xiaoling appeared at the door of the TV station wearing a small black tube-top skirt and fringed shawl. The night breeze blew slowly, gently blowing her hair and clothes, and the fragrance was faint. "Oh my God, it's Xiaoling." She didn't leave. Soon, someone with sharp eyes spotted her. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 867. Chapter 867. Men must understand romance. They all came in this direction. "Miss Ling, look this way." "Miss Aya, can we take a photo with you?" "Xiao Ling, I love hearing you sing the most. Come on." "Xiao Ling, you are more beautiful in person than on TV." There were a lot of chatter, and everyone surrounded her like stars over the moon. Xiaoling had a polite smile on her face, her eyes moved, she briefly greeted the crowd surrounding her, and quickly got into the car under the guidance of the bodyguards. When she got to the car, she exhaled, pulled off the fringed shawl and threw it casually on the white seat. "Exhausted," she said. Lin Yunan had a lollipop in his mouth. Ever since he became Xiaoling's manager, in order to protect her throat and prevent her from inhaling second-hand smoke, he had quit smoking for many years. However, as a substitute, lollipops have never stopped. "Lose." He also said, "It's finally over. I'm exhausted from today's event. I want to go home and take a comfortable bath." Xiaoling was very sad. "I want to go home and put little Xiaowei to sleep." Lin Yunan spread out his limbs and slumped on the passenger seat, and even more sadly, "Do you think that when I say comfortable, I mean really comfortable? I'm going to sort out the press release for you while taking a bath, and adjust the next itinerary according to the wedding news. Oh, by the way, when will you and Li Lei get engaged? Tell me." Xiaoling blinked and thought for a while before replying with 3 words, "I don't know." "No. I don't know." Lin Yunan jumped up, "Is this your marriage?" "I really don't know." Classmate Xiaoling felt aggrieved. The bad guy brother and the Li Lei didn't remember to tell her about such an important wedding date, and she actually forgot to ask. Lin Yunan was completely convinced now and gave her a thumbs up, not wanting to say a word more. In the carriage, Wei asked weakly, "So, Sister Xiaoling, what should we do? Many reporters just called to ask about your wedding date. How should I reply?" "What a nonsense reply," Lin Yunan said angrily, "just say that this ancestor himself doesn't know." Xiaoling. Wei. "Hey, Manager Lin, do you want to be so angry?" Lin Yunan opened his mobile phone and started punching in phone numbers. Xiaoling asked him, "What are you doing?" Lin Yunan rolled his eyes, "You are unreliable. Your man should be more reliable after all. I'll ask him about his wedding date." Sure enough, it was much more useful to ask Big Boss Li directly. After a while, Lin Yunan got her exact engagement and wedding dates, and smiled with satisfaction. What a good day, you really know how to choose. Xia Xiaoling was extremely curious. What's the date? Lin Yunan ignored her. Want to know? Ask your man yourself. Xia Xiaoling's classmate, Wu Hu Hu, my brother, and Li Lei bullied me, and now even my manager is bullying me too. I don't care, you will let me know sooner or later anyway. Her arrogant temper rose, and she turned her head. I won't ask, let's see how long you can hide it from me. In the end, you don't have to beg me, the bride, to show up. Manager Lin only gave 2 words to the temperamental classmate Xia Xiaoling. Childish. The car drove to the door of Xiaoling's villa. Lin Yunan saw her out of the car and left after seeing her entering the house. The villa is very warmly decorated, and the dim yellow lights are warm and cozy. As expected, Xiao Shaowai was still awake. He ran down the stairs wearing a pair of bare pajamas. His short hands hugged her legs with some difficulty. Mom, Mom. Xiaoling casually threw the exquisite Chanel handbag on the floor, bent down and touched his head, waiting for Mom to come home again. Are you good today? Did you eat well? Good boy. Xiao Shaowai drawled, nodded his little head softly, and said, have you eaten the millet porridge cooked by Aunt Jasmine? Mom, are you hungry? Aunt Jasmine is still heating it for you on the fire. As he was talking, the maid Jasmine had already come out with porridge. Miss, please have some too. Today, Xiaoling walked on the red carpet, was proposed to, accepted awards, and acted as a cheerleader. Every aspect was a huge drain on her energy and physical strength. Even leaving reporters and fans to go home was a huge effort. She was really hungry now that she was so busy, so she nodded, took Xiao Shaowai and drank some more porridge. After finishing the porridge, I accompanied Xiao Shaowai to his bedroom and told him a bedtime story. Xiao Shaowai stretched out his little hand and took her arm. Mom, are you going to marry your father? I saw him proposing to you on TV. It's so romantic. Xiaoling laughed. How can you understand what romance is at such a young age? Of course, the child nodded proudly. Uncle Lin Yunan said that men must know how to be romantic before girls will like him. Dad is too romantic, so there are so many aunts who want to steal him from Mom after thinking about it. Thinking, he blinked and added, Uncle Lin also said that when I learn how to be romantic, when I grow up, I will be able to charm many, many girls. I can change my daughter-in-law in one day without the same one. Mom, why do you need to change so many wives? Xiaoling deeply felt that her good son was being led astray by Manager Lin. She pinched the child's delicate little face and said, don't listen to Uncle Lin, be as dedicated as your father, do you understand? The child seemed to understand, but, Daddy also has Aunt Sutang and Xiao Rui. Xiaoling's face turned dark. What kind of mess is this? You, Xiaoling squeezed his face harder this time, you can treat Xiao Rui as your biological brother, but you are not allowed to treat Aunt Sutang as a good person. She is a bad person. A bad person. She wants to break up our family, she is so evil, got it? Do you know? Xiao Shaowai's cheeks hurt from being pinched by her, and there was a faint mist in his eyes. Woo, it hurt so much, and his mother is so scary. As expected, Uncle Lin Yunan said that angry women should not be messed with, so with 2 bags of tears in his eyes, he nodded with difficulty under Xiaoling's hand. Xiaoling then let go of him. While reading a bedtime story to the child, his mind was a little far away. The child didn't know that nothing happened between Sutang and Li Lei, and he didn't know that Li Rui was not his biological child. So what do people outside think? How many people, like Xiao Hui, think that Li Lei has 3 wives and 4 concubines and is not devoted? She felt heavy in her heart and felt a little blocked. While reading the story, the child fell asleep at some point, breathing lightly. soft eyelashes quietly brushing his eyelids, looking very peaceful and beautiful under the warm bedroom light. Her heart softened again. No matter how many things happened, she would have no regrets if she could walk with Xiao Shaowai and Li Lei in this life. As for what Sutang? Li Rui? So what if you jump around a lot? Outsiders are still outsiders after all. How can they compete with a family that truly loves each other and whose blood is thicker than water? She reached out and covered Xiao Shaowai with the quilt. She was very tired and fell asleep next to the child's crib. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 868. Chapter 868 His size. When I woke up the next day, I found myself leaning on a solid chest. Under the morning light, the wheat-colored skin was glowing with health. She looked at the body and blinked her eyes in confusion. Li Lei, when did you touch it? Isn't he in the distant Chijiashan village? When did he take her back to the room, change into pajamas, and... Have you had enough of her tofu? Xia Xiaoling's head is covered with black lines. I couldn't help but slap his wolf claws away and said dissatisfiedly, "Hey, get up." Unexpectedly, a certain boss in her sleep easily reached out and hooked her back into his arms, and changed her into a more comfortable position, just like a human-shaped pillow, and fell asleep again. Die in the past. Xia Xiaoling struggled, "You, get up, you're dead." A certain big boss was in a deep sleep. Xia Xiaoling's classmate glared at him fiercely, and then glared at him, but it was no use. The big boss in her sleep felt no pain at all, his lips were pressed against her cheek, and his warm breath brushed against her ear. She felt itchy all over and tried hard to push him, but her hands and feet were pinned down and she couldn't push him at all. Classmate Xia Xiaoling cried. After struggling in vain for a while, I was tired of tossing myself, so I just gave up and fell asleep. She slept in darkness, and when she woke up again, she found that a certain big boss was eating her up again. Li Lei, you. Classmate Xia Xiaoling's accumulated anger finally broke out. She grabbed his ear and shouted loudly, "You are a pig. You sleep like that, and when you wake up, you think about doing bad things. Can you please order some? No morals. What is moral integrity? Can it be eaten?" Li Leiake ignored her. Lying on the soft and thick duvet, a certain big boss looked at her with a wicked smile. "You are so enthusiastic this morning, are you so happy to find that I am back?" Xiaoling had 2 bags of tears in her eyes. "I'm so happy for you, sister." How could she be enthusiastic? She was clearly resisting. Resist. Reluctantly, she asked bitterly, "Aren't you with my dad and my brother? Why did you come back so quickly? Where is your grandpa, your dad, your 3 aunts and 6 grandmas family?" In the video of the marriage proposal last night, she sharply saw Mr. Li and many other Li family members. Even Li Lei's biological father, who rarely showed up, showed his face at a glance. Li Lei said lazily and vaguely, "Our family left after the proposal last night. Grandpa and the others went back to the overseas headquarters. I took a special plane overnight to come back to see you. Are you very touched? Why did you sleep in? Do you know that you will catch a cold next to the bed in Shaowai's small room? That kid is hugging you and won't let go, huh? How dare you compete with his father for a woman? Are you impatient?" Xiaoling wants to complain about him, but who is holding her now and not letting go? Rolling her eyes to the sky, she said angrily, "I'm hungry and want to eat." The person who was holding her tightly moved his position, and his voice was still vague, "Be good, I'm going to cook for you. I brought back local specialties from my brother." Xia Xiaoling's classmate had no choice but to sadly let him continue eating tofu. Classmate Li Xiaoli, I went to get dressed proudly. Xiaoling, who didn't know what he was thinking, changed her clothes and got up with a sore body. Her mind was a little sluggish, and she suddenly remembered something and asked him, "When is the engagement date?" Guess classmate Li Xiaoli. I was a little too proud. Xia Xiaoling's classmate was furious, "You are all bullying me. I'll sleep with Xiao Hui tonight." Li Xiaoli. I was shocked and said, "No," reluctantly. He told her the date. "This is a good day calculated by my brother. We will definitely grow old together." The words "grow old together" immediately extinguished all the arrogance and awkwardness in her heart. How romantic! Her heart softened as soon as she thought about spending her life with him. Isn't what you want in this life just to be with him happily and peacefully? After experiencing so many ups and downs, it is not easy to grow old together. "Do I need to prepare anything?" she asked in a soft voice. Li Lei smiled and said, "You, get some beauty sleep, take good care of your body, and wait until the day of the engagement party to attend the engagement party beautifully. Don't you need to do anything else? There is one thing," Li Lei thought for a while, "according to etiquette, you have to buy me a set of clothes to wear at the engagement party, and I will also buy you a few sets of your dresses. This matter is left to ordinary people. Just counting money and figuring out who has more and who has less can take a long time, but for wealthy families like the Li family and the Xia family, it is not a problem at all." Xiaoling said, "This is simple, just buy clothes." As soon as she said this, she suddenly realized that something was wrong. She didn't seem to have bought much clothes for Li Lei recently. What size does he wear? He seems to have lost weight recently. Has his size changed? She looked at him weakly and asked guiltily, "You, what size are you wearing now?" The conscience of heaven and earth, she really doesn't know. Li Lei felt his heart bleed when he heard her ask, "You don't know my size? Even if I don't tell you, can't you feel it?" As he said that, he took her hand and touched her body. When her fingers touched his solid muscles, she blushed again for some reason. "Are you a gangster?" she blushed and scolded him, trying hard to pull her hand away, but she couldn't. He had already started to lead her to touch her waist. "What's wrong with the gangster, Li Xiaoli?" I was unhappy. "I can tell your size right away. I reported it so accurately a few years ago. You've been touching me for so many years and you don't feel anything at all. This conversation is wrong. It seems to be going in some strange direction." Xiaoling blushed, remembering that when she went to stay at Li Lei's apartment for the first time, he glanced at her casually, accurately reported her measurements, and told Su Tang to buy women's clothes. Thinking about it in the past, she also felt that she was extremely weak. How could someone be able to spot her size at a glance, but she still couldn't spot his after so many years. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 869. Chapter 869 Customized Suit. However, when I thought about it again, I felt that something was wrong. An idea suddenly flashed in Xia Xiaoling's mind, and she suddenly realized something and asked, "Li Lei, Jin Yifei told me a long time ago that your private life is a mess and you have read countless people. Is it true? That's why you are right, you know how to measure girls' sizes. How many women did you carry on my back?" Classmate Li Xiaoli. I deeply felt that he had tricked himself. He was so proud that he forgot how he had developed the good skill of telling people's sizes at a glance. Back then when I was hanging out with those gangsters like Jin Yifei and Du Yunfan, I could change my girlfriends as fast as I could change my clothes. What were my measurements? It's all trivial. He explained weakly, "It's all in the past. Ever since I got you, I have been so loyal to the end, and I have never messed up again. Besides, what is the ability to see through the measurements? Jin Yifei, that guy can tell at a glance whether a girl is a virgin, Ouch. His ears were grabbed by Xiaoling. You still said that. Xiaoling remembered that Jin Yifei used this trick on her, and became very angry. You are sorry that you can't tell whether she is a good person, right? Do you want to learn a few tricks from Jin Yifei again? Oh my god. I don't dare anymore, Xiaoling, Xiaoling, I know I was wrong. Li Lei was about to cry when his ears were grabbed. As the saying goes, you will never survive if you make your own mistakes. Why should he tease this jealous person when he has nothing to do? No, once old accounts were turned over, things that were originally reasonable became unreasonable, and the situation was reversed in an instant. Xiaoling didn't calm down at all. Go back to your home and sleep tonight. In this way, classmate Li Xiaoli was disliked by his future wife. And classmate Xia Xiaoling, after expelling a certain big boss, stayed at home and sulked, reflecting on whether she was too good to Li Lei. What makes him so presumptuous, shameless, and coquettish? She was a little melancholy, holding her chin in her hands and sitting on the floor in a daze. Xiao Shaowai ran over to her to play with. Mom, Mom, help me build blocks. Xiaoling felt weak and asked her son, do you think my mother is too naughty? Xiao Shaowai was confused. What are steamed buns? It's just that you're too easy to bully and too weak, that's why your father always bullies your mother. Xiao Shaowai. He could clearly remember who kicked who out of the house early this morning. The sad look in his father's eyes before he left still lingers in his heart, reminding him deeply. Don't offend women if you offend anyone. If such a mother is too naughty, how can it be embarrassing for the father? Xiao Shaowai shuddered silently and decided to save his father. Mom, you are not at all. Really, you see that your father takes care of you obediently. Before leaving this morning, he told me to take good care of you. Really? Xiaoling was doubtful. It's absolutely true, Xiao Shaowai said with his chest raised. Xiaoling's anger was relieved now, and she happily went to build blocks with Xiao Shaowai. After spending an afternoon building blocks, Arnold knocked on the door of her villa in the evening. Miss Ling, boss, I sent his clothes size. You can take it and use it to buy clothes. Speaking, he handed over a neatly folded piece of paper. Xiaoling took it and opened it. Sure enough, Li Lei's body data was recorded in detail, from his measurements to the length of his limbs. Is this the latest size? She asked Arnold. Arnold said, it's the latest one. Boss specially asked the tailor to measure it today. As soon as the tailor finished it, he handed it to me and I sent it to you right away. This kind of thing should have been done by the special assistant, but since Su Tang was alienated by Li Lei, he had not found a suitable person to handle these trivial matters in life, so he had to let his bodyguard Arnold do the job part-time. Xiaoling thanked Arnold and entered the room with the size. Mom, Xiao Shaowai came up to him, are you going to make clothes for Dad? Yes, Xiaoling smiled, I want to make the most handsome dress for your father's engagement. I also want to make the little dress you wear at the engagement party. Can you go shopping with your mother tomorrow? Okay, Xiao Shaowai said, clapping his hands. All the women in the Xia family like to go shopping, not only Xiaoling but also Mrs. Xia. They all like to take him with them when they go shopping. They see how cute he is and buy him a lot of clothes. Xiao Hui has been ravaged since he was a child and has long been immune. In order not to offend the scary women, he behaves happily when he hears that he is going shopping. In fact, my heart is bleeding. Dad and Mom should get married as soon as possible, he thought very melancholy. After getting married, the family of 3 would live together, and Dad would accompany Mom when shopping, and he could quietly hide away and be lazy. For this reason alone, he also wants to bring his father and mother together. The next day, it was nice weather. Xiaoling dressed up beautifully and took Xiao Shaowai, who was also clean, to the best tailor-made suit shop in the city. This store is small and quiet. The people who can afford to order suits here are all well-known people, and they are all distinguished, so they are not afraid of being disturbed by fans. She felt relaxed and handed Lilay's measurements to the clerk. I want to order a men's suit for the engagement party. As soon as he finished speaking, a woman wearing a light purple embroidered dress raised her head in the corner of the tailor shop. Her makeup was exquisite, and her long hair was styled into a loose bun with gorgeous crystal hair accessories. She was incomparably elegant and noble. It was Sutang. Long time no see, I didn't expect to meet here. Xiaoling looked down and saw a little boy, Li Rui, holding her hand. Then she looked at little Xiaowai, who was holding her hand. She couldn't help but feel that they were really enemies. She didn't want to pay attention to Sutang, turned away and pretended not to see it, and asked the clerk, "Do you have any suitable fabric recommendations?" The clerk also felt that the scene was a bit embarrassing. She was a celebrity, and Sutang had followed Lilei over the years, and her deeds had been frequently reported in the newspapers, so the clerk had long known the relationship between the two women and the two children. Now, the main wife bumps into the concubine and the illegitimate child here, so it's best not to start a fight. The clerk quickly led Xiaoling to the end away from Sutang and smiled attentively. "You sit down first. There are many good fabrics in the store. I will bring them to you and you can choose slowly." Xiaoling took Xiao Xiaowai and sat on the soft and comfortable couch, watching the clerk spread out pieces of exquisite and expensive fabrics in front of her eyes, and introduced her in detail. "This batch of indigo ones are very good for making suits. They are very crisp and make you look energetic," the clerk said. "The one next to me is made of camel hair. It is the best camel hair that our shop owner has traveled all over the world. Although it's a bit hot to wear, but there must be air conditioning at the engagement party, so it's not a big deal for the Xena over there." End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weiniang. Chapter 870. Chapter 870. Smart and witty Xiao Xiaowai. He introduced everything to Xiaoling. Xiaoling looked at it again and again, but she still felt dissatisfied. "It's not that the things in your store are not good," she explained to the clerk, "it's just that getting engaged is so special, and I always want to find a special piece of material, rather than these 100-something items that can be worn on any occasion." Match. The clerk nodded in understanding. Xiaoling stood up and looked through the fabrics displayed in their store one by one. By coincidence, the area where Sutang was standing was where many high-end fabrics were concentrated. The best materials in the store were all there. Area. Many of the materials that the clerk just brought to Xiaoling were also moved from here. Xiaoling automatically blocked Sutang and read the information silently. Suddenly, her eyes lit up, and what came into view was a beautiful haze-colored suit material, but it had a charming luster under the faint light. It was very special and could not be worn on any occasion, but it would definitely look perfect at an engagement banquet. Outstanding. She reached out to the piece of fabric with her other hand. Xiaoling turned her head slightly and saw Sutang. Sutang also saw her and smiled slightly. "Miss Ling, your eyes are becoming more and more like mine." Xiaoling is displeased. Why does her vision look more and more like Sutang's? It was as if she was imitating Sutang. Unable to bear it, she said, "I have done a little research on fabrics. This one is made of cashmere and silk. The craftsmanship is good." "It's made of cashmere and silk," the clerk said with a careful smile. Now it's trouble. They calculated everything and tried to separate the two women, but in the end they bumped into each other and started arguing over the same piece of fabric. What should they do? He could only pray in his heart that things would not get into trouble. Sutang was well-mannered and spoke very elegantly. "Miss Ling has always been smart and studious, and her research on fabrics over the years has been impressive. Unlike when she debuted a few years ago, wearing artificial fibers, at that time, I didn't think you'll soon have the vision to buy clothes here. Inside and outside the words, he was laughing at her for starting a poor family and impatiently imitating the rich. Xiaoling was sullen in her heart, thinking that she had just been reborn and had no money to buy any good clothes, but this did not mean that she had poor taste. After all, she had been wearing good materials for nearly 20 years before she was reborn. Why did Sutang say so? Like an impatient nouveau riche? However, the angrier she felt, the more indifferent the expression on her face became. Thank you, Miss Su. I didn't expect that you would like the same material as me. Speaking of which, I will be engaged to Li Lei soon. I plan to use this material to make his engagement dress. I wonder who Miss Su is making the dress for. This is a suit shop that only makes men's suits. Xiaoling is not so naive as to think that Sutang is making clothes for herself. Could it be that it was also bought for Li Lei? Xiaoling unconsciously became vigilant. Sutang was keenly aware of her vigilance and smiled. This doesn't seem to be any of Miss Ling's business. Why is it none of her business? Xiaoling almost screamed, desperately reminding herself to be patient, to maintain grace and perfect demeanor, and never to show an angry look in front of Sutang. She secretly grinned at her fine white teeth and smiled charmingly. Miss Su, after all we have met, it is reasonable to care about you. If you find another sweetheart, I will be happy to give this horse to you. The material is presented with both hands. If you have flowers, just go and pursue your own happiness. After all, Li Lei and I are already so happy. We really can't bear to see you alone. Don't you think so? Sutang was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Just then I remembered that Xiaoling, a woman, has always been so sharp-tongued, and she has never suffered a loss in her ability to talk. She couldn't help but be secretly angry. Why did she waste so much time talking to her? So, he smiled elegantly again. Is it so easy to find someone as long-lasting as the young master? I heard that you are getting engaged soon, and I am happy for you, so I brought Xiao Rui to make some new clothes. Even if I can't get your invitation to attend the engagement party that day, Xiao Rui and I will celebrate it for you at home. Xiaoling almost sneered. What she said was really better than what she sang. Is it useful for her to pretend to be pitiful for a while? Come less. In his previous life, he had witnessed many of Xia Yu's cruel tricks. Could it be that no matter how hard Sutang suffered, it would be worse than Xia Yu's? Really just making clothes for Xiao Rui? She looked at Sutang suspiciously. Sutang said softly, what else do you think? Xiaoling wanted to directly ask her if she wanted to make clothes for Li Lei, but suddenly she had an idea and said with some pride, when it comes to suits, the most important thing is the fit. Li Lei just gave him the latest size yesterday. I am the only one in the world who can make him the best fitting suit, so others don't have to waste their efforts. Sutang's expression changed slightly. He lowered his head and stopped talking. Xiaoling thought she had been defeated, and smiled triumphantly. Miss Su, I want this piece of clothing material. How many clothes will you make for Xiao Rui today? All of them will be recorded in my account, and you will consider them as compensation from me. Bad woman. Li Rui had been glaring at her with hatred since she came in. If he hadn't been pulled by Sutang, he would have rushed to find fault. At this moment, she finally found a chance to speak and yelled at Xiaoling, I don't want your smelly clothes. I want to use this material to make them. I won't give them to you. Xiao Shaowai frowned, not wanting others to insult his mother like this. He took a step forward and said to Li Rui seriously, my mother is not a bad woman, your mother is. That's why Dad doesn't marry her, only my mom. Do you want to question Dad's vision? With a sound, Xiaoling couldn't hold back and laughed. Originally she was very angry, but when Xiao Shaowai interrupted her, how could she become so happy? It doesn't matter who is good or bad between her and Sutang. What matters is who Li Lei thinks is good and who is bad. The highest praise for a woman is to marry her. Therefore, it has been obvious for a long time that in Li Lei's heart, Xiaoling is much better than Sutang. Xia Xiaoling's classmate was in a happy mood, feeling that her love for her son was not in vain. At the critical moment, her son's brain was quick and he was able to defeat Li Rui, a hybrid child who appeared out of nowhere. The clerk on the side almost couldn't help but laugh. He didn't expect that this little Xiaowai would be so powerful at such a young age. He asked Li Rui how to answer this question. Is it okay to admit your father's vision? Where is the biological mother Sutang? Do you think dad has bad taste? Will his father still love him in the future? End of this chapter.